Ladies and gentlemen, CocoSports.com proudly presents the Boom Boom Room, and of course, I am the sexiest man on all of Internet Wrestling Radio. That's right, Boom Boom here, shaking the room live from the RVA, talking about Richmond, Virginia. And ladies and gentlemen, another WWE Smackdown in the books. And of course, the question I'm going to ask, and you already know what it is if you're a member of the Internet Infantry, because we ask it at the beginning of every review that we do. And that is, what do you give tonight's show? Do you give it a win? Do you give it a loss? Or do you give it a tie? So please, down there in the comment section, please tell me what you thought of the show, and along with your questions and comments. I'll be reading those throughout the evening. Well, another SmackDown in the books here, live from Houston, Texas. I'm going to give tonight's show, I'm going to give it a win. I don't think it was just kind of okay. That was a solid show. I guess I was entertained. I really enjoyed it. A lot of highlights, a lot of things to talk about here, but let's just get down and dirty with it. It starts out with a promo from Seth Rollins, talking about a year ago his betrayal of the Shield and his journey to becoming WWE Champion. This was interrupted by Dean Ambrose on the Titantron, talking about how he won the match, how everybody saw it. He called Seth Rollins a liar and said, no, he's the WWE Champion, and he's going to prove it again. He's going to beat him one more time at Money in the Bank, this time in a ladder match, so that should be something to see. I thought it was a pretty decent way to start out. With Seth Rollins here, I think you can kind of tell that Triple H is his mentor, because Triple H used to do the same thing when he was champion. I remember going to a Raw back in 2003, and Triple H, he was the champion. That's when he was dominating. I believe I think that was his first year as a World Heavyweight Champion. Remember when they did the brand split? He went out there, he pulled out a folding chair, and then he just sat down in the ring and started talking. So you know that this has got Triple H all over it, because, I mean, what Seth Rollins did was just carbon copy of what Triple H did back when he was the champion. I bitched about it then. Am I going to bitch about this? No, not really. I think it kind of had a point, and it didn't draw on for 20 minutes. This only went for about 10. So I thought it was a pretty good, nice job of setting up their feud here. And one thing I don't like is that WWE is just in this nasty habit right now of rushing pay-per-views. I know, they got the WWE Network now, so you can afford to do that because people aren't having to shell out, $30, $40, $50 for a pay-per-view. You just pay $10 and you're good to go for the month. But still, it's really not a lot of time to build up. I mean, you had a pay-per-view. I think it was Payback. Then you had 2 weeks. Then you had Elimination Chamber. No, now you got 2 weeks. Now it's Money in the Bank. I think they need to slow it down a little bit. Personally, I think WWE should just go to 10 pay-per-views a year. Out of the 10, I would say, why 10? No, well, because I really wouldn't have a pay-per-view in December, because that's just a tough month. I mean, you got the end of the year coming up. You got Christmas, all kinds of religious holidays coming up. People going out shopping. Stress levels are high. I think we can throttle back on that. And I would not have a pay-per-view the month before WrestleMania, because, face it, after the Royal Rumble, that's the only thing anybody's looking forward to. Fastlane is just, or whatever they're going to call it this year, is just, it was Elimination Chamber, but this year it was Fastlane. Excuse me. And nobody in that pay-per-view, everybody pretty much says that pay-per-view doesn't count. It's just filler until you get to WrestleMania. So that's why I've reduced it down to 10. And plus you get a little bit more time to build up. All right, let's get into the matches here. Of course, you got Tom Phillips, Byron Saxton, and Jerry Lawler on the commentary desk tonight. We started out with a triple threat match. It was between 3 tag teams to determine the number 1 contenders to the tag team championships. You had the Ascension versus the Primetime Players versus the Lucha Dragons. Not a bad opener. You had Victor and Connor actually looking pretty good in there in the match. The newly crowned the primetime players who looked pretty phenomenal in the chamber match. If you look at all the teams that they had, I think the primetime players actually, that lost, came out smelling like roses on that one. I mean, they hung in there to like the very end. So it made sense for them to be in there. And the Lucha Dragons, I absolutely love them. I love their work. I love them in NXT. I didn't know where they were going with it at first, but it turned out to be absolutely amazing. Ooh, excuse me. You see a little bit of back and forth, particularly between the Ascension and the Lucha Dragons. I guess it's just because those two teams work particularly well together. They did a lot of work together in NXT. They know each other inside and out, so they can put on a pretty good match. And you throw in the primetime players there to spice it up a little bit, have a little fun. Kind of a shock here, but the primetime players get the win. And it looked like for a while I thought it was going to be the Lucha Dragons, but sure enough, Titus O'Neil tossed Kalisto out onto Connor on the outside, just kept everybody distracted. He set up Victor for a pump handle slam, hit it, good enough for the win, baby. So primetime players, millions of dollars, millions of dollars, millions of dollars, and going to Money in the Bank as the #1 contenders. Just do me one favor, Darren Young. If you're going to grow a fucking beard, grow a fucking beard. If you're going to grow mutton chops, grow mutton chops. Don't grow this kind of like really thick sideburn goatee combo that you got going, because you look stupid with that little gap on the side of your cheek. So you look like some like 14-year-old boy trying to grow a beard out for the first time. Nah. Look, Darren, love you, bro, but you got to grow out the full beard if you're going to, if you commit to the beard. A beard is something you don't do half-assed. You have to commit to it. Next year, we had Stardust versus Ryback. Of course, this is Ryback's first match as the Intercontinental Champion. Not much to say about this one. This was about a 2-minute squash match. Ryback went in there and absolutely destroyed Stardust. That meat hook clothesline quickly followed up by a shell shock for the win. Why not? Ryback just won the title. He needs to look strong. Give him a decisive win. I mean, just a dominating win over Stardust. It doesn't hurt Stardust in the least bit. Keeps him fired up. I'm interested to see where they go with Ryback, and maybe they'll. I keep hoping with every champion, will they change how they book the Intercontinental Champion? Because the way they had been doing it was WWE had been doing it where the champion would constantly lose non-title matches, but finally when the title was on the line, they would eke one out, and we've always bitched about it. In this case, I just don't. It's a welcome departure from the norm. Let's see. They had Paige come out and give an interview saying that the Bella Twins are holding back the Divas division. Oh, I think a lot of the Divas there are holding back the Divas division. If you want to see a good Divas division, go look no further than NXT. Paige was actually kind of funny. She mentioned Emma, Summer, Naomi. God, I forgot. She was one more, and I forgot. And I don't know where the hell they're going with this. I hope they have some kind of title change, because I just don't like the Bella Twins. Period. Decent work from Paige, but she's just a shell of her former self now that she's left NXT. Let's see. You've had Luke Harper and Eric Rowan give a little bit of a promo. No big deal. Next, in my opinion, this was like the best segment of the night, was Kevin Owens comes out for his NXT Championship Open Challenge. He goes in the ring and he just destroys John Cena just on the microphone. Goes out there, says, you don't need Michael Cole to introduce me this week, because after Sunday, you know exactly who I am. It's like, I think Cena's delusional because he actually believes the garbage that he's spewing. And he tries to say that I'm not a real man. Well, you know what? I'm not some, 10-year-old that you can easily fool. I know exactly who and what you are, and I'll be glad to shut you up one more time at Money in the Bank. I'll finish this. and then just completely mock John Cena and the open challenge. Oh, I don't have a watch, so yeah, you know the deal. And the champ is here, and completely mocking tone, which I think was well welcomed. I think Kevin Owens is doing a great job taking in that spot of that big monster heel now that Rusev is on the shelf for a little bit with a fractured ankle. But we'll get to him and his segment a little bit. The championship challenge was answered by Zack Ryder, and there was not much to this. Ryder comes out, gets clocked with a super kick, beats him down, hits a pop-up power bomb, gets the win. Then when the match was over, he gives him the cannonball in the corner, picks him back up, hits him with another pop-up power bomb, and there you go. Next, we had Neville versus Kofi Kingston. Both of these guys going to be in the Money in the Bank ladder match. I think Kofi Kingston is now our version of like Shelton Benjamin, a guy who pretty big on the tag team scene, and they really pull out the showcase when it's something big. This so that somebody that they really need a dependable high flyer for. Anyway, Kofi Kingston flanked by the other members of the New Day. Neville, of course, all by his lonesome. This was a pretty good match. And by the way, can I just say that I heard somebody say the dumbest damn thing about Neville this week. They were like, oh, well, Neville's only over because of the red arrow, because that's all the fans are looking for. That's all they care about. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I mean, that's like saying, well, Stone Cold Steve Austin's only over because of the stunner, or The Rock's only over because of the people's elbow. No, dude, people genuinely like Neville. I mean, so I'm sorry, I had to get that off my chest. I just heard that this week, and I just thought that was like the dumbest damn thing I had heard all fucking week. Pretty decent back and forth. I think some of the outside, particularly Xavier Woods, oh, that's a veteran move. That's a veteran move. And I'm going to make gravity remember you, and just all kinds of funny shit going on out there. I mean, it was a fucking riot. The New Day playing the heel role perfectly, getting involved. But their distractions would be their downfall. During this, Kofi tried to roll up with Neville, but he twisted around and caught Kofi Kingston in a little bit of a cradle. Got the 1, 2, 3, then got the hell out of Dodge. So, way to go. Another good win by Neville. I think decent build up for Money in the Bank. Next was the Miz TV segment, and I will give like a beer to anyone can tell me what the fuck Miz was wearing in this. I don't know what the hell he was wearing. It was like a sweater, but it wasn't a hoodie, but it was like a little old lady, I don't know what you call it, like something like your grandmother would wear over her hair to avoid it getting wet if she was going out to the grocery store or something on the weekend. I have no idea what the hell he was wearing, so like a beer to anybody can tell me what the fuck he was wearing. So goes out there, and they bring out Lana. She was talking about, just everything going on, and that no, she didn't ditch Rusev because he was injured. No, she left him because of how abusive he was. So they bring out Rusev, who's apparently living back in Bulgaria now because I guess fuck it, he's lost to John Cena. So I guess they kicked him out of Russia for that. So he moved from Moscow back to Bulgaria because now he's had the Bulgarian flag on his windbreaker. He tried to woo her back. Lana would have none of it. And then Rusev got a little violent, got a little belligerent. Dolph Ziggler runs out there, just sticks out his arm and walks out with Lana on his arm. I really don't like how this angle is going, just because I think it's kind of degrading to women. And I'm like a dude saying this because, domestic abuse, I mean, basically that's what they're doing. This is an abusive relationship. I mean, it's not abusive like in the terms of physicality, because Rusev has never really put his hands on Lana, which, I think is the right call. But basically, this is what this storyline is about. It's about an abusive relationship. And instead of having, in the crowds, starting to cheer for Lana, and they want to kind of, have her go out on her own and do her own thing, I think it's kind of degrading because you have like this woman who's gone through this abusive relationship, and instead of just having her go out on her own, do her own thing, I'm independent. I don't need you to tell me what to do. I'm my own person. I'm going to go out and I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to live life, which I think would be beautiful. I'm not saying she can't have a romantic interest. I mean, just not right now. I mean, it's just like you break up with your girlfriend and like you're dating somebody like the next week. I'm like, not that I'm opposed to people, breakups like dating, after the breakup, but I'm like, shit, give it a few weeks. I just don't like the kind of message that it sends that a woman is only as good as is only, her value is only perceived by, whose arm she's hanging off of. I don't know. I just don't like it. But call me crazy. Feel free to call me crazy. Well, I am crazy, but I don't think it has anything to do with this. Didn't have anything to do with this show here. Real quick, we've got some quick questions here from the Internet Infantry. Rage Against PG says, "Hey, Boom Boom, boy, was that open challenge a letdown? Zack Ryder, really?" Yeah, really, it was. I guess the only thing that I guess you could say that would make it interesting was you could have mentioned the fact that Zack Ryder answered John Cena's United States Open Challenge, and he actually lasted longer against John Cena than he did against Kevin Owens. I guess that's maybe how you can make it somewhat interesting or make it relevant, because it's just like I was actually hoping that it would be somebody from NXT, so that way they could show off people from NXT, give them excuses to tune in on Wednesday night. Maybe they can, try to give NXT a little bit of a hand in the Wednesday night wars. Oh yeah, I'm going there. I'm calling it that. I was kind of personally hoping for Enzo Amore. Can you imagine him, Big Cass, and Carmella going out and doing that whole shtick on SmackDown? I think that'd be entertaining. And you don't want to give away Finn Balor, so not him. And they've already had Solomon Crowe. So I don't know what you really could have pulled out there. But then again, I mean, you just really could have pulled almost anybody out there just to kind of generate some interest in NXT. That's just me. But no, Zack Ryder, I mean, it kind of makes sense. I just feel like commentary dropped the ball with that. And then, let's see, Kevin's promo, this is from Rage Against PG. He says, Kevin's promo was good, though, but you could have done Neville versus Owens for your main event, and you didn't take that opportunity. No, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't have done Neville. Because, I mean, yeah, on paper that sounds good, but these two have already matched up in NXT, and it ended with Owens powerbombing Neville on the apron of the ring, and they stretchered him out. Look, the whole thing with Neville and NXT has run its course. I mean, they're putting him in the Money in the Bank ladder match. I mean, he was in the finals of the King of the Ring tournament. He's been in serious contention for the Intercontinental Championship. In my opinion, just him going to open it up, answering Kevin Owens' challenge for the NXT title, to me, it doesn't make any sense. That sounds more regressive than it does progressive. And I feel like Neville needs to be more progressive, what he's doing right now. I mean, he's got a chance to win the briefcase and potentially, get a shot at the WWE World Heavyweight Championship and, walk out, and get that match anytime he wants. I mean, why would you want to? I mean, no disrespect to the NXT title, but realistically, if that's the position you're in, why would you want to go back and win something that you've already won? Not only have you won, but you were the longest reigning champion. I mean, it's like if you're a good AAA pitcher and then you go up to the major leagues, why would you want to go down and go down from the majors when you have a chance to possibly pitch in the World Series to go pitch in a playoff game at AAA? I'm just saying that's to me, that's what it's like. But so that's how I really feel about it here. Let's see here, and then Rage Against PG, and I'll get back to the matches in just a second. It says, how would you book SmackDown to return to prominence as a decent show? I think what they're doing right now is actually pretty good. They've actually had some pretty good matches. The things I would change was I would make sure that no fucking match ends in a goddamn roll-up, and then I keep my main events to, like, tonight was an exception to the rule. They usually have like multi-man main events, like tag team or six-man tag matches normally in SmackDown. I would use those sparingly, and I would try to end the fuck finishes. I would try to do something to where when they can go back and recap it on Raw and make it feel like the audience has missed something. What I would do to make it seem relevant immediately, I would do a title change. It really doesn't matter which one. I mean, hell, it could be the Divas title. It really doesn't matter. You got to have a title change. You got to make the audience feel like they're missing out by not watching that show. Um, the hater in me doesn't like John Cena on there. Doesn't want John Cena on there. Is grateful John Cena's not on there. But you got to put some of your big name stars on there, because you got to have the fans thinking, well, SmackDown is just as important as Raw. And when we recap it on Monday Night Raw, we got to make you feel like you missed something. You absolutely missed something by not watching this show. And then on Raw, I would tease, it could have been anything. Like, tonight's main event, it could have been, oh, these two had a confrontation with each other. And now, coming up, we're almost out of time here, but just announced it's going to be on SmackDown. So be sure to watch this Thursday. Just something, give the audience an excuse to watch. I think that's the best thing that WWE can do. I think that's something they don't do a lot, is tease something. Give your audience an excuse to watch, and they will. You have to tease something. It could be anything new. It's like, well, there's a rematch. Well, what makes it different? What makes this rematch different? Is there going to be a title on the line? Will there be a number one contendership on the line? Will there be some kind of consequences of it? You got to have something. All right. Then we got to the main event, Roman Reigns versus Sheamus. Believe it or not, this match actually kind of wasn't as bad. Let me ask you this. This is my question here, and this is where I kind of wish I had Dave Coco here, or Rob, or Wrestling Rantin', or anybody else with CocoSports.com right now. And I'm going to ask this question. Is Roman Reigns starting to win you over? I'm just asking the question, because ever since Mania, when he was cheated out of the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, they've pretty much went back to the drawing board with Roman Reigns. I mean, he's lost some matches. He's had to fight through a little bit of adversity. He hasn't been handed everything now. I mean, remember he's going into the Money in the Bank ladder match, but there's no guarantee that he's going to win it. A lot of things going on with him here, and he's not doing that Looney Tunes where he was cussing out. Well, not cussing out, but called Seth Rollins a suffering suck up full of succotash, son. Yeah, I mean, let me tell you a story about Roman Reigns. Once upon a time, they've knocked that out. So they've had him still go out through the crowd. They've had him be a little bit more realistic. He's taken some ass kickings. So I'm going to ask you, is Reigns starting to win you back over? I mean, that's a big question here. And Dave or Rob or anybody's listening to me, or if you in the internet inventory's listening, I just, simple yes, no, maybe expound upon it. But is Roman Reigns starting to win you back over? I like the new angle that they're taking with booking Roman Reigns right now. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of him, but I don't hate him quite as much. Even when I did hate him, I didn't hate him that much. It was just, I hated how WWE took something that was good, something that was cool, then they tried to put their little spit polish on it, and it just ruined it. I mean, it's like putting sardines on a good peanut butter sandwich. It just ruined the whole damn thing. So I'm hoping that they at least learned from that mistake and they turned it around. But anyway, back to the main event. Roman Reigns versus Sheamus. Sheamus took control in the early part of the match. Roman Reigns started battling up, hit a Samoan drop, was preparing to hit the Superman punch. It looked like he was about to wrap it up. Out comes Kane along with J&J security. This distracts Roman Reigns. Sheamus takes a little bit of control with an Irish curse backbreaker, take two. Misses the road kick. Reigns hits the Superman punch, but Kane goes in there and hits Reigns with a big boot. This calls for a disqualification. He starts beating up on Roman Reigns. Sheamus hit a bro kick on Reigns, and then Kane turned around and choke slammed Sheamus, and then Kane got on the microphone and said he announced himself as the final participant in the Money in the Bank ladder match. So why not? You know that saying, if you can't, what was it? Ah, shit, I don't forgot already. If you want something done right, you need to do it yourself. So obviously representing the Authority's interest, and in a way, I kind of wish they would get a new Authority member, because when you think about it, yeah, I mean, you've got a lot of off. The only two really active competitors that you have in the Authority right now are Kane and Seth Rollins. That's it. I mean, you need to bring in Big Show. You need to bring in just somebody else, or maybe a new up-and-coming heel. Why not? Now, I don't know if Tyler Breeze would work in that role or not from NXT. I don't know really who would work. Kevin Owens, maybe. I mean, that might be, decent, because he seems to have the backing of the Authority right now, and it would just be, we've got domination of the past. We've Triple H. We've got the star of the present, Seth Rollins. We've got the next big star, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, the star of the future. Why not? Or maybe you try to incorporate a tag team and try to throttle back a little bit more on J&J Security, because remember, Joey Mercury and Jamie Noble retired. They both retired because of injuries. So why continue to have why continue to have them in an active role? It kind of defeats the whole purpose of them retiring. But then again, it's supposed to be annoying. It's supposed to be these two little guys in the monkey suits who are annoying the shit out of us. Makes sense. I don't know if with Kane being it, he's been in them before, so storyline, it makes sense. So why not? All in all, I think it was a pretty decent show. If you're a big WWE fan, probably check it out. If you're not, I still think it was entertaining. I would say definitely watch the Triple Threat Tag Team match. That's worth watching. You could probably skip over the middle part. You can skip over Ryback Stardust. That was a squash match. I would probably stop just to watch Kevin Owens' promo. The match follow-up of itself was nothing special. It was just like not even a 2-minute squash match. Neville versus Kofi Kingston was actually pretty good. And if you're a big Roman Reigns or Sheamus fan, yeah, check out the main event. But there's only really out of the 5 matches, there's only 2 you really need to check out. So all in all, not a bad night here. So let's get to some questions here. Then I got to go because Dave is sick. Something about his yeast infection flaring up again. So guess what I'm doing? I'm doing a shit ton of wrestling reviews tonight. Don't ever say I never did nothing for you, Coco. Get well soon, buddy. Razor Wolf says, good to hear from you, Boom. Well, thank you, sir. Glad to see somebody misses this, fine, sultry, silky southern voice. Let's see. What else? Rage Against PG says, what's a move that you think that if it was booked better could be a devastating finisher? Ugh. What move could I think could be a devastating finisher? I think I'm about to say a choke slam would be a good one. Would be a good choice. They've already got the power bomb going with Kevin Owens. I think a spine buster could definitely be a good finisher if you did it correctly, or you did something like a full Nelson slam. I think that could be a devastating finisher. Not a power slam, but kind of like not a tombstone, but I think more like a Michinoku driver. I think that could work. I'm just going off the top of my head here, but that's what I'm saying. I would just say nobody else is allowed to do a DDT for a while, because that's just kind of like the go-to move when you don't know how to wrestle. Let's see. True what you said. Rage Against PG says, true what you said about Neville, but one doesn't just pass over an opportunity to beat the crap out of the person who got you stretched out the last time you met. Yeah, I understand where you're going with this, and I don't necessarily disagree with you or your logic. I'm just thinking he was already booked. he had this match against Kofi Kingston. He's focusing on Money in the Bank. I just think it would be storyline-wise, it would be too much of a distraction. And you don't have really anything to gain because, if you win, now you've got to go back down to NXT and defend that championship. And that's kind of the whole purpose why they he moved up. Just give that opportunity to the younger guys. I mean, right now I feel like the NXT guys, there's a lot of them that need to step up. I guess that's why we saw Marcus Louis back on TV because, you've got several of your guys hurt now. I mean, you got 3 guys hurt. Alex Riley's out. Hideo Itami's out. Sami Zayn's out. Kevin Owens looks like he's been called up to the main roster. He's going to be wrestling there more often than not. It's time for some of these other guys, in NXT to step up. So sorry, lost my train of thought there. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Yeah, stupid brain. You failed me yet again. Rage Against PG, damn, he's all over the place today. He says, had you asked me about Reigns before Monday, I would have said yes, but not after that super Roman Funk Fest. Why is he Money in the Bank match in the first place, kayfabe-wise, if the Authority hates him so much? Well, you could say, remember, the Authority, and this is just me just going storyline-wise here, is the Authority always says, we'll always do what's best for business. So maybe they could say this was a business decision, because even though we don't like Roman Reigns, he moves merchandise. Fans chant his name, so we're giving the fans what they want. Now, granted, our guys are going to win, but we'll throw you a bone. We'll give you, we'll put your little hero in there just so we can squash him, just so we can just put him down like a dog. I guess that's why they would do it. I'm trying to go completely by storyline here. Is Vince McMahon is he's a guy that he never lets personal feelings get in the way of business. So I can see how that works. But next, I don't know. He's calling in. All right.
Hello, first time caller, long time listener.
Oh, caller, go ahead. You're live on the air.
I tried to call in earlier. Yeah, my voice is completely shot and I'm sick. There was too much wrestling on Wednesday, and my dad came in and was like, "You like wrestling? Then smoke the whole carton." And I was like, "Sure, Dad." As far as the finisher goes, I would love to see an armbar where people just tap out right away. Because if anyone watches MMA or jiu-jitsu, armbars suck. And usually, if you get caught in an armbar, you tap out because you're gonna lose your freaking arm. But in wrestling, they're like, I'm in an armbar. Can I reach for the rope? It's kind of bullshit. So if I had a finisher, I would just do an armbar. And like Del Rio had a pretty nice armbar because he had MMA experience. I would do something like that. But then I would, like Paul Heyman said about a stupid headlock. Oh, I got baby macaroni here.
Yes, baby macaroni.
And I'd go armbar. And as far as Roman Reigns, I agree with PG on this one. Prior to Monday, he was a hero. He was being rebuilt. But Monday, it was just effing ridiculous, especially when he won the third match. When he won the third match, I was just like, dude, I'm done. They don't know how to promote heroes. They don't know how to promote good guys. They don't know how – they just lost touch with reality. And when you have a millionaire or billionaire, whatever, that is fucking 97 years old, there's like, what do you mean you don't like the guy who's given everything? They're the real heroes, and it's not. That's not how storytelling is done. So thank you for the reviews, and hopefully I can get some more reviews in the future. All right. Booms, you do a great job. I really enjoy your show. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Coco. Get well soon. All right.
Hung up, dude. You don't even know how to do a radio show. The caller's gone, sucker.
All right. Well, I didn't know you were going. You didn't say goodbye, you asshole.
It was that board op. The board op cut me off, jerk.
Yeah, I know. We need to fire that guy. All right. I'm going to check one last time for comments. Then I got to go because, well, Boom Boom's got a whole lot of wrestling to review. So let's take a look at it one more time. If not, I'll be sure to get it in. I'll be sure to get it in something you eat or something. But that's going to do it for right now. In the meantime, be sure to check us out at KocoSports.com. That's KOCOSports.com. It's your home for all combat sports. That includes boxing, mixed martial arts, pro wrestling, amateur wrestling, sumo wrestling, taekwondo, kickboxing, judo. If you can get your nose broke doing it, we got it covered there on the site. Be sure to check out our news and gossip section, updated daily, as well as our very popular video on demand section. So if you want to check out this episode of SmackDown, or maybe you want to go back and check out NXT or Lucha Underground, you can do that there at our site at KocoSports.com. It's where the world goes to kick ass. So this is Boom Boom, and for my partner Coco, I am over. Boop, 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 boop.